It's Wombat Jones for Ramen Chokehold, and stick around later because we've got some very, very exciting news. My special guest this week is none other than Matt Walton from XFC. How you going, champ?
Really good, buddy. Yourself?
Yeah, mate, I'm going fantastic. Now, I only just got home yesterday down from XFC 39, which was off the freaking hook. Mate, tell me about that night. What was it like for you?
Yeah, it was really special for us. You know, we obviously had a few unfortunate injuries to some professional fighters, which meant for the first time on XFC history, we had some amateurs headline and co-headline the event. And to see them still come through and pull out all the goods, we were wrapped with the way the show pulled out.
Well, Michael the Lionheart Tapau was the champion, the super lightweight champion, AMI champion. And he was taking on Lonnie Lontonomo, Philip Mahala, and just before the fight started, you know, heads were getting clashed together and they were all fired up, and the crowd by that stage was absolutely going off its tits. But you know, it was just a fantastic main event that was crescendoed. I mean, the first fight of the night, what did it last? Like 23 seconds. And I think the second fight was the fastest knockout in XFC history, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I guess, you know, talking about Tapau and Lonnie, you know, they'd fought before at XFC 30 or 31, and that was probably one of the most memorable face-offs at the weigh-ins. I remember how much passion the boys had against each other. They've actually become kind of friends and, you know, that mutual respect since then. But again, it really kicked off at the weigh-ins, and especially fight night. I remember commentating the fight, and I was so pumped up just the way Lonnie was just pacing the cage, and you know how much it meant to Tapau as well. And then what was the other question? The other part? I was so excited about Tapau. What else did you say?
Well, the first and the second, the first and the second fight of the night, which just set the tone.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first fight, you know, we put it out to the group to say that it was so important. The first fight of the night really sets the pace for the night. Zane Brassington put his hand up for it and basically did just that. You know, the official result says I think it was 15 seconds for the knockout. The previous record was 13, which was a fair stab at the title there. And then seriously, the second fight ended in 9 seconds. So within the first two fights, we were done in, 24 seconds. Ridiculous.
Yeah, it was crazy, and it kind of kept going like that for quite a while until, you know, we hit a couple of cracking fights in the middle. And, you know, we had Zilic versus Horvath, which was an absolute war. And, it was just a cracking fight. And Horvath just, even though he was getting hurt, just kept coming forward and, you know, kept, you know, waving him on. And then, obviously, the fight of the night for me was Lyle versus Camilleri. What do you think of that fight?
Yeah, I was really impressed with that fight. You know, Emmanuel really impressed us at XFC 37. I thought he was a really tough competitor for Victor. Victor was the first time at 75 kilos. And I thought he turned up and looked fantastic after a big weight cut. And yeah, once again, that was everybody's fight of the night, which really means something considering we literally had 14 bangers out there.
Now, mate, looking behind you, you made a little cheeky post just before the event started about the posters that are actually behind you, and how you were saying that you got no more room on your wall. And so why don't you explain what you meant by that?
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, I had some goals and some boxes that I wanted to tick in this sport, you know, with promoting. And I guess, you know, leading on from that, you know, every time we finish a show, when we have such good feedback from it, we always have people reaching out to us, you know, either wanting to become business partners or possibly buy the business. And you know, you'd be silly to just ignore those offers. But one thing that's really important to us is that if anyone was to take over the business, then they would need to obviously have certain credentials, or, you know, we would need to see their vision of where they wanted to take the business. And we've rejected a lot of those offers. The last couple of months, though, we've been speaking to some pretty smart people who were telling us a couple of their dreams for their dreams for the business. And it just got to a point where we wanted what was best for this business. And we knew that, as I said, there are smarter people out there that would actually take XFC to the next level. And yeah, so I guess after all that speech and that long-winded explanation of what I was kind of getting at, emotionally, yes, we have decided to pass the business on. But at the end of the day, XFC is in very, very good hands.
Well, that's exciting news, you know, for whoever snapped that up. But why don't we talk about your time as promoter of XFC? I mean, you've got the posters behind you. I'm going to put you on the spot here. I didn't tell you I was going to do this, but I'm going to put you on the spot. But right. I want you to turn around and have a look at those posters and actually tell me, you know, some of the memorable moments for those nights.
Yeah, I think the first show that we ever did was massive. You know, you'd expect that the first show that you're going to do, you kind of work your way up to something. But from XFC 27, where we had Jules and Gustavo Falsaroli on the card, we couldn't have reached those heights. You know what I mean? Possibly thinking that would happen on our first show. You know, so from there, things that I'm really proud of is to have exceptional champions like Isaac Hardman, Kieran Joblin, Jackson Small. You know, those kinds of guys come through the ranks as well. And for the chance to be able to put the belts around and their waist means a lot to us as well. Going to the big venues like the Logan Metro Sports Centre was really a really proud achievement. You know, filling out that joint with those massive grandstands and the tables and the way that was set up. There are a whole bunch of things that I'll look back on my time and really be proud of.
And what about maybe some fights that you didn't get a chance to make?
Yeah, I was pretty lucky. You know, once again, when we bought the business, there were a couple of people that we wanted. You know, we wanted Jai Bradney. I wanted David Butt. Obviously, Bevan O'Malley's and Isaac Hardman's. I wanted to be able to get those on the card, and we managed to. Probably a fight that I really wish we probably could have matched would have been Isaac Hardman versus Brenton Mumford. I think that's a fight that's definitely got to happen. And I think once Isaac wins a couple of belts in boxing, Brenton will be on a good little tear there again. So pretty sure those guys will line up for an XFC belt soon.
Yeah, awesome. Now, I told everyone to stick around because there's big news for Ramen Chokehold as well. So I might as well announce it, Matt. But I'm the one who's bought XFC. So we're playing some games here. But it's me who's taken it on, and obviously Brian Ebersol is going to be by my side as the matchmaker, which you've done an amazing job bringing him on board. And just speak about him. You know, what he's been like in the last couple of events matchmaking for XFC.
Yeah, there are two jobs in MMA that I say is the hardest to do. One is commentating. You've got to be incredible at commentating, and you've got to be a really good matchmaker. You know, the matchmaking takes so much out of you. Having someone like Brian's expertise in the business, once again, there's a lot of furor in MMA right now where people say that they're the best show or they've got the best fighters or the best ring girls even. I honestly believe when you've got someone like Brian Ebersol on your team, no one can match that. You know, the bloke's had almost 90 professional fights, a really successful UFC career. You know, just hearing the way that he speaks to these fighters, there is no one else in Australian MMA that comes close to his experience. So to have him on board, like I said, he's had 90 fights. He's probably been paid 70 different ways. He's had hundreds of fight camps. He's experienced everything in the sport. So one of the best things that XFC has ever done was to bring him on board. And I even made a special mention of him at the weigh-ins on the last show. These fighters really need to be reaching out to Brian and just picking his brain. You know, if they've got to spare 20, 30 minutes, give him a call, send him some messages and really pick his brain. He's got some great stories on weight cuts and fight camps and fighting the same bloke 15 times and going up a weight. You know, just his mentality around picking and choosing fights and just fighting is really where this sport needs to take a couple of tips from.
Yeah, 100%. I think he's possibly the greatest asset that XFC has, when it comes to the sport side of it. And he's definitely sticking around, and we've got some big plans as well, me and him. And obviously I'm coming from the media side of things, so I'm looking to boost production and also content. And I'm going to be telling stories, which was basically what I was trying to do with Ramen Chokehold. And I was doing it for all of the promotions, but now I actually get to focus down on one of them and really invest my time into these fighters that fight for us and just really start, taking things to the next level. So I'm absolutely excited. I've got to say a massive big thank you to yourself. Obviously, XFC was the first local event that I showed up to covering as a media member. I was never a media member. I was never a journalist. I was there to promote everyone. I was there to promote the fighters, the promotion, every single facet of the sport I love. I think it's pretty hard to argue that I absolutely love this, and anyone that's ever heard me commentate knows that I get a little bit excited. So you can imagine how excited I am for this, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the reasons why I love this story and the continuation of how XFC's evolved is that, Justin started the business in 2003. I joined and started helping Justin, I think it was about 2013, or 2012. So I volunteered for Justin for about 3 or 4 years, just because I love the sport and I love seeing what Justin was doing with the sport and where he was moving it. I was then, because I'd volunteered for 3 or 4 years, I was given the first opportunity to take over the business when Justin was ready to sell. And I love the fact that, once again, that story continues. The the people that have invested their time, their money, their emotions, everything. I wouldn't even imagine how much money you've taken out of your own bank account to fund this journey that you're currently on. They're the people that deserve that next opportunity. Just not the people that have got the highest bankroll or the most money in the bank. It's the ones that have invested their own time into this sport that deserve the biggest opportunities. And I am incredibly confident that everyone in Australian MMA has seen that investment that you've made, and they're going to jump on board incredibly quickly. And at the end of the day, even if they have some concerns, they're going to see some announcements that you're about to make in the next couple of days, which will have them rather quickly jumping in your sliding into your DMs. Here's one now.
Well, mate, thanks for those words, and it's obviously swelling my head, but that's not what I'm about, mate. I'm going to get to work. I've got some big plans and things that are already in place, like you said. I think I'll make my first big announcement on Friday, which will be pretty cool. And there's more coming. There really is. We've got some massive things lined up that I've sort of sorted out in the last couple of months. So I can't wait to share that with everyone. Social media is obviously the place that I'm going to be announcing all this stuff on our Facebook page, especially. So keep your eyes on that. Make sure you check to see that you see these posts first. But Matt, thanks very much, mate. You'll obviously still be sticking around. You'll be there on May 24th. There for XFC 41. You'll also be there with me March 23rd, where we crown our middleweight champion over in Dunedin, won't you, mate?
Yeah, 100%. I love the New Zealand fighters out there. XFC has invested heavily since 2003 in terms of our New Zealand counterparts as well. So to finally have our first title fight over in New Zealand, that's really exciting as well. And the fact that we've got Daniel Almeida and Brogan Anderson going at it, that, without trying to sound like a promoter, I don't need to anymore because I'm not a promoter anymore. But that's pretty much the fight that's worth the plane ticket and the hotel and all that sort of stuff that comes with it as well.
Well, that's the reason why I'm going. It's an absolute banging fight. We got the arm collector versus Jacare, so someone's losing a limb or something. I don't know what's going on there, but it's going to be an absolute cracking night over there in Dunedin. So look out, New Zealand. We're coming over there. But once again, mate, thanks very much. And you'll definitely be around, and we'll be speaking to you soon as well.
I'm excited for you, mate. Once again, congratulations. I really look forward to seeing what you do with the business and the show.
Thanks, mate. We'll talk to you soon.
See you, buddy.